Imagine this situation. A company declares dividend, but thousands of shareholders never claim their money. So, what happens to that unclaimed amount? Does the company keep it forever? Can management misuse those funds secretly? Absolutely not. That is exactly where Section 124 of the Companies Act 2013 becomes important. Introduction to Section 124. Section 124 deals with unpaid dividend and investor education and protection fund, also known as IEPF. This section creates strict mechanism for handling unclaimed investor money. The law focuses on transparency, accountability, and investor protection. Dividend payment rule. Once dividend is declared, the company must pay dividend within 30 days. This is the first important statutory timeline. Companies cannot delay payment indefinitely. What if dividend remains unpaid? Suppose some shareholders do not claim dividend within 30 days. The company cannot simply keep that amount in general account. The law requires separate treatment for unpaid dividend. Creation of unpaid dividend account. After expiry of 30 days, the company gets additional 7 days. Within this period, unpaid amount must be transferred to unpaid dividend account. This account must be opened in scheduled bank. Why separate account is necessary? The separate account ensures investor money remains protected and prevents misuse of unclaimed dividend by company management. Transparency in handling shareholder funds is extremely important. 30 plus 7-day rule. Students must clearly remember this timeline. 30 days for payment, then 7 days for transfer to unpaid dividend account. This is one of the most important exam concepts under Section 124. Disclosure requirement. Within 90 days after transfer, the company must prepare detailed statement containing names, addresses, and unpaid amounts relating to shareholders. Website disclosure. The company must upload unpaid dividend details on company website and also on government-approved website. This creates transparency and public accessibility. Purpose of public disclosure. Public disclosure helps shareholders identify pending amounts. It also prevents secret retention of investor money. Transparency is core objective of Section 124. Interest penalty for non-transfer. Suppose company fails to transfer unpaid dividend on time. The company must pay interest at 12% per annum. This is strict statutory penalty. Who gets the interest? The benefit of interest does not go to government. The interest belongs proportionately to shareholders. This protects investors from delay caused by company. Right of shareholder to claim serious. Even after transfer to unpaid dividend account, the shareholder still retains right to claim dividend. Curious. The shareholder may apply to company for payment. 7-year rule. One of the most important provisions under Section 124 is 7-year rule. If dividend remains unpaid or unclaimed for 7 years continuously, the amount must be transferred to IEPF. What is IEPF? IEPF means Investor Education and Protection Fund. This fund is managed under government supervision. The objective is investor protection and awareness. General of amount to IEPF. After 7 years, the company transfers unpaid dividend along with accrued interest to IEPF. This prevents indefinite accumulation of dormant investor funds. Importance of shares to IEPF. Section 124 also contains very important provision regarding shares. If dividend on shares remains unpaid for 7 consecutive years, the shares themselves are transferred to IEPF. Why shares are also transferred? The law wants to address long-term dormant holdings and prevent misuse of inactive shareholder accounts. This improves governance and investor record management. Important exception. Suppose shareholder claims dividend even once during 7-year period, then shares will not be transferred to IEPF. This is extremely important exam point. Right to reclaim shares. Transfer to IEPF does not permanently destroy shareholder rights. The investor may still apply to IEPF authority and reclaim shares and dividend through proper procedure. Compliance forms under IEPF rules. Companies must comply with several procedural requirements. For example, Form IEPF 1 for transfer details and IEPF 4 for share transfer details. These forms maintain regulatory records. Share transfer through DMAT. Shares transferred to IEPF are moved into DMAT account of IEPF authority. Physical shares are converted into DMAT before transfer. Prior notice to shareholders. Before transfer of shares, the company must inform shareholders in advance. Generally, notice is given 3 months before transfer. This protects investor rights. Newspaper publication. Companies must also publish newspaper notice before transferring shares to IEPF. This creates wider public awareness. Voting rights after transfer. Once shares move to IEPF, voting rights attached to those shares remain frozen until investor successfully reclaims them. Bonus and split benefits. Suppose shares transferred to IEPF later receive bonus or stock split benefits. Those benefits are also transferred to IEPF account. Bonus and split benefits. Suppose shares transferred to IEPF later receive bonus or stock split benefits. Those benefits are also transferred to IEPF account. Purpose of Section 124. Serious. The objective of Section 124 is protection of investor money. Companies should not misuse unclaimed dividends. The law therefore creates strict tracking and transfer mechanism. Wo-stage mechanism. Section 124 works through two-stage process. First stage is unpaid dividend account. Second stage is transfer to IEPF after 7 years. This structured framework ensures proper monitoring. Role of IEPF authority. IEPF authority manages transferred funds and shares. It also processes investor claims for recovery. This ensures balance between investor protection and regulatory oversight. Practical example 1. Suppose company declares dividend on 1st April, but some shareholders do not claim it within 30 days. The company transfers amount to unpaid dividend account within next 7 days. This is proper compliance. Practical example 2. Suppose company fails to transfer unpaid amount, 12% interest penalty becomes payable. The interest benefits shareholders. Practical example 3. Suppose shareholder claims unpaid dividend after 2 years. The company pays dividend from unpaid dividend account. This is valid process. Practical example 4. Suppose dividend remains unclaimed for 7 years. The amount moves to IEPF. This is mandatory statutory transfer. Practical example 5. Suppose shares continuously remain linked with unpaid dividend for 7 years. The shares are also transferred to IEPF. Practical example 6. Suppose shareholder claims dividend in 4th year, then 7-year continuity breaks and shares cannot be transferred to IEPF. Practical example 7. Suppose investor later discovers transferred shares. The investor applies to IEPF authority with proper documents and successfully reclaims shares. Practical example 8. Suppose company fails to upload unpaid dividend statement on website. This becomes compliance violation under Section 124. Penalties under Section 124. Serious. Non-compliance attracts penalties. Company may face heavy financial penalties. Officers in default may also become liable. This demonstrates seriousness of investor protection framework. Importance for corporate governance. Section 124 strengthens accountability and transparency. Investor money remains traceable throughout life cycle. This improves trust in corporate system. Importance for shareholders. Many shareholders forget dividends due to address changes or inactive accounts. Section 124 ensures such money remains protected and recoverable. Importance for companies. Companies must maintain accurate records and compliance systems. Failure to follow timelines may create penalties and reputational damage. Exam Golden Line. Remember the timeline clearly. 30 days for payment, 7 days for transfer to unpaid dividend account, 7 years for transfer to IEPF, and 7 consecutive years unpaid dividend leads to transfer of shares. Memory trick. Use this simple formula for revision. Pay, transfer, protect, IEPF shares transfer. This captures entire framework of Section 124. Students often make important mistakes. First, they confuse 30-day payment period with 7-day transfer period. Second, they forget shares are also transferred after 7 consecutive years. Third, they ignore exception where dividend claimed even once prevents share transfer. And fourth, they think investor loses rights permanently after IEPF transfer. Final governance insight. Section 124 ensures that investor money never becomes invisible. Every unpaid dividend remains tracked, protected, and recoverable. This reflects strong investor protection philosophy under Indian company law. Section 124 sends one powerful message. Unclaimed investor money does not belong to the company. It belongs to shareholders and must remain protected at every stage. That is the true purpose of Section 124 of the Companies Act 2013. Disclaimer. Viewing this video or accessing the content on this channel are free and does not create any professional, advisory, or client relationship between the speaker and the viewer. The content is shared solely for general educational and informational purposes. The speaker is a member of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India, ICSI. However, the information provided in this video should not be construed as professional advice, consultancy, or opinion under any law or regulation. Viewers should not rely solely on the information provided in this video for making legal, financial, regulatory, or compliance decisions. Any person intending to rely upon or act on the information contained herein should independently verify the relevant provisions of law and, where appropriate, seek professional advice from a qualified professional. The speaker, the Institute of Company Secretaries of India, ICSI, or any organization or listed company with which the speaker may be associated shall not be liable for any direct or indirect loss, damage, or consequences arising from reliance on the information provided in this video or channel. The content shared on this channel is based solely on publicly available information, general legal provisions, and academic discussion of corporate and regulatory frameworks. The speaker confirms that no unpublished price-sensitive information, UPSI, confidential information, or proprietary information of any listed company or organization has been disclosed or discussed in any video or content on this channel. The views expressed in the videos are personal academic interpretations for educational purposes only and are not connected with or derived from any confidential information obtained through employment, professional engagement, or association with any listed company or organization. Nothing contained in this channel should be interpreted as market advice, investment advice, or insider information under the applicable provisions of securities laws, including the SEBI Prohibition of Insider Trading 2015. Viewers are advised that the information shared is purely for general educational awareness and should not be relied upon for investment decisions, trading decisions, or regulatory compliance without consulting appropriate professionals and official sources.